welcome back to the Teeny Tinkers channel. I make ball jointed doll and craft related content. Today's video is both. So I found someone actually local to me was selling these 3D printed ball jointed dolls, and she was just smaller than an MSD, but she was only about $100 Canadian, which is like 70 USD. So I picked her up. She is definitely a project doll. So that's what today's video is, fixing up this project doll. So we're gonna be sanding, we're gonna be sealing, and just possibly doing her face up in this one. I'm not sure. I think it'll be more like restringing, but we'll see. Okay, let's look at the doll. Yeah, so this is the doll. She's about 35 centimeters. Her head's pretty small, kind of like Pookie Fee sized, I would say, like 8th size, but very realistic to her proportions. As you can see, she is rough. So she was strung on not doll elastic, just a different kind of elastic. So I have ordered elastic cord from Amazon. She's super rough. You can see all the layer lines. So, but besides that, I actually think she's very cute, and when strung properly and sanded, is going to be a really, really cute little doll. For this step, I have my 3 grits of sandpaper. So I have a coarse grit, a finer grit, and then this super soft one for buffing. And basically what I'm going to be doing is just pulling this girl apart, sanding the crud out of her. I'll give you steps as I'm doing that, because oof, does she ever need a sanding. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to sanding like her hands and her little feet. You can see like the elastic she's strung on is not great. But yeah, I'm gonna pull this girl apart into literally 300 pieces now. So all in all, we have 22 pieces to sand. I think I'm gonna start with the head because that's my favorite, move on to the torso, like, and then just do big, like head and then biggest to smallest pieces, because that's gonna be a pain in my butt, and that, and these little tootsies. So I'm just gonna throw on a movie and start sanding. So I did start with the coarsest grit and then move down the grits to make it finer and finer. The head did take quite a bit of time because there were so many creases and because there was a lot of little bumps on the nose that I hadn't really noticed before. All in all, this took a really long time, so just keep that in mind if you're going to be investing time into sanding a doll. This was about 2.5 hours just for the first round of sanding. So this is after a bit of sanding. It's really hard to tell what's done, but it definitely feels smoother. And I also realized that some pieces really require a lot more sanding and a fine grit sandpaper. Even this one's not super gritty. So I went and picked up from my basement this Mastercraft, like it's super coarse, extra coarse, for the pieces like this. But I also remembered that I have a Dremel, and I can kind of swoop right around those edges and just be super careful not to over sand and change up slightly any shapes of like eye holes and stuff. So I'm going to try that now. So as expected, the Dremel did help move things along a lot quicker, but please do not watch me using a Dremel and think that this is the proper way to do it, because it most certainly is not. I did nick my fingers. It did hurt. So if you don't want to sand off your fingertips like I did, please research how to use one of these, because I definitely should have. So now I have a bunch of pieces that look like this. They're scratchy and white and weird, but they feel amazing and super smooth. So what I'm going to do now is take them and wash them in soapy water and get all this residue off. So because this is PLA plastic, which is a cornstarch based product, I made sure I only used like lukewarm water to wash them in a gentle soap. As well, I did let them air dry for about 6 hours before moving on to the next round of sanding. So the pieces are drying and they do look pretty smooth. You can still see some of the lines. I don't think it was printed very fine, which is a small complaint of mine. But
after what was actually about 2 hours of sanding, they feel really smooth and they're clean now and they look great. So I'm just gonna, like I said, let them dry and then come back to this. Okay, so it is 4 hours later and you can see with the pieces, they are a lot smoother, but there is still a lot of lining. So I'm gonna go ahead and sand them again, but not using the heavier grit sandpapers. I'm going to just use my two fine grits, and also a magic eraser just to buff them even more. So I'm gonna go do that now. I'm not gonna make you watch it all over again, just, you know, take my word for it. So I went ahead and I actually widened her eyes a little more, and then I gave her a quick face up. I haven't sealed it yet, and I think I'm gonna add a little bit more to it because it's feeling a little empty, and then I will show you what she looks like with some eyes in. So on top of that, I'm also doing a bit of blushing, and that's just so I can seal it each piece in, and like even before I assemble the doll, because I still have to wait till Monday to get my elastic. Okay, she's pretty cute. I can't wait to put her back together. Okay, so this is the elastic. I'm thinking I might have got it a bit big. It's definitely an improvement on what was there before. I'm gonna try and use it. I think it's definitely gonna hold the doll more taut than it was before. So besides that, I also picked up some teeny tiny little S-hooks, which I thought would be really great for like in the feet and hand joints. So I'm gonna try using those. And yeah, this is just going to be an adventure trying to string her. I'll be back in a moment. So I am now almost certain that this is the wrong size of elastic and that it's way too big. I am struggle bussing trying to get this on here. I mean, wish me luck. I'm having a really hard time and I have no idea how I'm going to loop it back. I don't think that's even possible if you look at the actual size. I think I'm gonna have to buy more elastic, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just gonna keep trying. Update. The piece of elastic that was used to hold the giant elastic seems to be a much better size, so right now I'm trying that, and the S-hooks are actually a perfect size, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So I'll be back when the torso and arms are all strung up. A struggle was had, but she is strung. The S-hooks actually don't work because they don't pop into the wrist because of this like joint. I don't know, it didn't work. So there are no S-hooks in the hands. She's definitely strung tighter now. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and do the legs now. Okay, the legs are done up now. So now I just have to reach in here and grab the string, pull it up through the torso and then up through the neck hole. Okay, now that she's all put together, I'm going to try some wigs on her and then try and get her dressed. So the only one I had that fits properly is this black faux fur wig. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some clothes on her and then style her hair a little bit. So here's what she looks like. I ended up putting her in some clothes that are just a bit small for my MSDs and they fit perfect. She's just a little on the small side. She's wearing some ball jointed Soulmates leggings, which are made for mini fees, and a Deadlicious Designs cardigan and a Blythe t-shirt. I also took a blonde wig, like a blonde faux fur wig that was a little bit thin for my liking, and layered it underneath a black wig, the one from the last shot. And I actually really like the result. I think she has more character now. She's pretty neat overall. She sits pretty well. She does not stand. I think I could get her to stand with some sueding. Unfortunately, because she is made out of PLA, she's not really good to suede. It doesn't hold up well from what I've read with really high temperatures, and hot glue could just melt the PLA, which is like I think it's like a cornstarch based. Anyways, it won't work. So she's just gonna be like a little sitting doll on my shelf. She's pretty cute though. Final thoughts. I think that she's a really cute doll. My complaints list is that she is not quite 45 centimeters, so she's smaller than an MSD but larger than a USD. So she's a little tricky to dress and she doesn't really fit in with my other dolls. Another con is I don't love dolls with very small heads. Her head is extremely proportionate to her body, and I actually prefer dolls where their head's a little bigger. So that's a con for me. And another con is the leg engineering wasn't my favorite. Her legs seem to want to do their own thing. And I, unfortunately, as I mentioned, can't suede her the traditional way. So I might have to look into a different way, maybe like silicone dots, similar to what doll she does with their dolls. That might be possible. And finally, it was a lot of work. So there was so much sanding involved. I think I sanded for about 4.5 hours total, and smoothing, and she's still not perfectly smooth. So she probably could have done with another sanding, but I just did not have it in me. I was good. 2 rounds of sanding were enough for me for this project. If I ever take her apart and wash her again, I will probably go ahead and give her another sanding, but I was not doing it today. The pros list is it was very inexpensive. So the whole doll cost 100 Canadian dollars, which like is about 75 USD. And I didn't have to pay like shipping or anything because it was somebody local to me. I had everything on hand. So I had like wigs, eyes, I had sandpaper. If you had not had those materials, this doll would probably, just for the bare doll and the sandpaper you needed, it probably would have been more like 125 Canadian dollars or like 85 US dollars. It's not terrible, but you have to remember this is not a resin doll, so it's not the same weight or feel or quality as a resin doll. But it is really fun if you want. So another pro is it's really fun if you're really into trying mods or projects or like practicing face ups and stuff like that. So I think she turned out pretty cute. I'm pretty happy with her. So yeah.
I've decided to call her Carrie, and I think I'm gonna let her sit up on the shelf next to my Monster High girl. I do post every Sunday and every Wednesday at about 12 p.m. Eastern time, so keep an eye out for those videos. And it means a lot to me, and it helps the channel a lot when you comment and subscribe. As always, I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye!